Beer and knives. Knives and beer. But why? Um, Big reason why for me is because most of my disposable income goes towards beer and knives, so I like to talk about them. But I also feel that there are some parallels between how they sell both beer and knives and how the community acts towards uh, how they feel about the way they're sold. So that will be a topic I'll get into. Uh, Quick overview though. Morning Delight's delicious. This bottle has tons of maple. It is very thick. Toppling Goliath is amazing at making very thick brews. Speaking of thick, oh boy, 0.75 AR right here. Uh, this knife is amazing. I really like it. It is a thick boy. Um, the only problem with it, and if you watch any reviews on it, would be that the lock bar is very sharp. The thumb hole is very sharp. It bites your thumb. The jimping is very sharp. And that might not be a problem for some people. It's not really a problem for me. It's definitely not a deal breaker in any way. I love this knife. I was not actually expecting to like it as much as I did. Uh, Next to an S&G, it does not look all that different in pictures, and maybe not in this video as much. When you see it in real life, though, it just looks big. This thing is a sharpened brick. You could probably throw this at somebody and kill them. So if you want a tactical knife, this works both open or closed, which is fantastic. Uh, as far as a slicer and stuff like that, it doesn't look very thick behind the edge for me, behind the cutting edge. Like I've read about with or watched reviews on for the other version. I'm guessing that's more of a spear point where this is a tanto. Um, doesn't matter too much to me. This is a tool, but I probably won't use it a lot as a tool because I have lots of knives, and there are certain ones I use as a tool, and some of them I just kind of admire. And that's one thing I like about knives and beers is I can just sit back and admire the craft, just as I like to sip on a beer and enjoy the notes and take my time with it. I like to sit back and admire knives, and that's the main reason why I wanted to do this video, is so that I could drink and play with knives. But you're like, whoa, what if you cut yourself? You're drinking and playing with knives. I would say that most people would say I deserve it, and that's fair. So I'm not really that worried about that, and I'm not too big into going up on specs about these. I will bring some knives up to compare them to here and there. Uh, Most people who would be interested in this video probably have some idea what a Strider is or what Morning Delight is. And you may have heard things about Morning Delight that it tastes like green peppers, or it's not as mapley as people say, or it wasn't what they expected. I've never had a bad bottle. I've never had a bad experience with Morning Delight. I have had ones that were more coffee than maple on tap, never out of a bottle. And I've never had the green pepper thing that someone has about it. I have said about it. I'm not a fanboy. I want to do a video on that at one point about the difference between having a favorite place and being a fanboy, where you just can't badmouth it at all. I will badmouth any knife maker or any beer maker to small extents. If I really don't like them, I wouldn't put them in a video. I guess I wouldn't really badmouth the makers much. I would say something was wrong with the knife. Like this sharp edge here is kind of ridiculous. Uh, but like I said, it's not a deal breaker for me. It never will be. I mean, it would have to be sharp enough to cut me open to be a deal breaker. But some of you out there, that might be a deal breaker. So it's interesting to bring up. The main thing, though, that I wanted to get into, which affects the knife world and affects the beer world, and through some synchronicity in my life has affected the knife world pretty hard lately, so I actually have some stories to bring up alongside it. And there's some parallels towards Morning Delight and what has happened to me in the past with it and what has happened with other people in the past with it. So one thing I'll get into is this knife dropped on Monkey Edge, and they do random drops. You don't know how many of these are going to drop. You don't know when it's going to drop. Like day, time. I mean, and sometimes they say something's coming out and it could be a while, and other times it's like bam. So this one I wasn't sure I wanted. And some of you out there are like, you POS. And that's part of what I'm getting into of like how it drives people insane. No matter how you drop a knife or how you drop a beer. I'll literally drop them. But I got an email for this right when I pulled up to my house at 4 something. That's when I get home from work. I didn't even hear the beep on my phone for the email because I usually turn it down because I'm playing music while I drive. I jumped on my email, just I don't even know why, and I saw that this dropped. I immediately clicked on it, clicked to buy it, boom, got it in my cart, which, by the way, is a big topic. If it's in your cart, you should be able to buy it. Nobody should be able to steal it from you. But I got it in my cart, and I had checked out, and I got an email saying I was going to get it, and I couldn't believe it. And then I went to Facebook, and in the time it took me to close my email and get to Facebook and go to Monkey Edge, there was people already mad that they didn't get this. So, what do you do? I personally like the random from Monkey Edge, and I'll explain why I like the random. A big part is because I have got two S&Gs that way that were Monkey Edge versions, and I got a Hinderer that way. So, but as far as what I was saying, synchronicity, there's people mad about this. I think Monkey Edge even said they had death threats. I don't know if that's their jokes or what. They talk about it. And if you are making death threats, I'm not laughing because you're making death threats. Uh, I think we all feel a little bit of that anger sometimes. And I'll explain where some of my anger comes in. That's the other way of dropping. For knives, that's a big one, which is DLT Trading will say Thursday at 10 a.m. And that tends to be typical, I swear. With Morning Delight, they did very much the same type of thing. You could buy it Thursday at 10 a.m. or Tuesday at noon or Wednesday at 11 a.m. I don't know if you're catching my drift here, but it's a weekday in the morning. I'm first shift. I get burnt on this stuff all the time. I had to take vacation days to try and get knives. So the random to me is very interesting because who's up at midnight sometimes when these drop? I think I bought my Sparrow close to midnight. I could be wrong, but I know it was later in the day. And it was the 4th drop for the Sparrow, which I think was the last drop for the Sparrow. But yeah, DLT Thursday at 10. They dropped 10. They even say the number of knives they're going to have of it. 10 of their Battlefield pickup, which if you're not familiar with is a type of Hinderer that is done up like you would have found it on a battlefield. It's beat up, not like they bashed the hell out of it, but it looks worn. All the hardware looks worn. The finish on the blade looks worn. It looks pretty cool. It's not really my thing. I could have bought some back in the day when they were easier to get. They used to sit on pages for a while, but they've become popular. But what I'm getting at, that's more important, back to topic, is there was 10 of them. I don't know how many people tried to get that knife, but I've seen more than 10 people complaining about it. And people were going on the Hinderer page getting pretty mad about it. Just like people were going on the Monkey Edge page getting pretty mad about the other type of drop. Just like people get on the Morning Delight page, well, Toppling Goliath page, and lose their minds. I don't think there is a solution to it, but I would really like to see people's opinions on that, stories of what's happened to them, whether it be lotteries or random drops or certain date and time. Because that's another thing that we do at the Morning Delight is lotteries. I've been entering lotteries for beer companies, especially Top and Goliath, for 5 years now. I have won exactly 0 lotteries. So bam, that's a real kick in the nuts to me. But objectively, it might be a very fair way to do it. Subjectively, it has not been my friend. So I'd like to see in the comments, what do you think about the drops? Do you like a specific one? Do you like that different companies do it different ways? Uh, have you won a lottery? Is there a cool story about winning a lottery? I got a somewhat cool story about a lottery. My ex girlfriend, I had enter a lottery for Purple Wax Assassin from Top and Goliath, which also, when you bought, you got a KBBS, which is Kentucky Bourbon Brunch Stout, I believe, which is one of the highest rated beers, if not the highest rated beer in the world. So, yeah, my girlfriend entered and won that, and we had an agreement that if she won it, I would take her out to Galena and stay in a hotel, and I'd buy her nice things and take her out to eat and all that stuff. And she loves stouts, but I would pay for the stouts. They'd be mine. And I'd share them with her. But so that was interesting. It was amazing. I got the KBBS still in my fridge, even though me and her aren't dating. So whatever. I shared plenty of beers with her. Trust me, and did everything I could to drink all the nice beers I could with her. But that was the closest I've come to winning a lottery. So, end of rant. If you've managed to make it this far, I would suggest if you like big, crazy, tactical feeling knives, to get some form of this. Whether or not you'll get the 3V Monkey Edge, uh, and you can buy it secondary, which they are probably gonna get you on that. I will make a video about that too, what I think about people who buy just to sell, because that is very big in the knife world and that is very big in the beer world. But back to topic. What's the best way to sell these things? Love to see you in the comments.